Okay, great. So 5 minutes. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to engage with stakeholders when you're developing a management plan to protect biodiversity. So I'm going to start in a different way. I'm going to start with the key findings. So keep in mind the three things, and you can leave my talk. Basically, first, always include the stakeholders. As we've been listening, you need to include the local communities to understand what's going on. Then go big or go home. When you're dealing with species management, you need to understand and you need to put the money, you need to invest in your plan. Then always expect the unexpected. There's so many factors that are going to be interacting that there might be something that goes wrong. Just to give you a little bit of background, as we know, species are declining worldwide, and these two, the feral cats and foxes, are the main threat for Australian island species. So, as I was talking, species management is a complex and multidimensional problem, which brings us to many uncertainties, and especially in terms of the management, that brings us dilemmas. On the other side, we need to understand that engaging with the stakeholders is going to have benefits, but also it's going to have some complications. And that's the main area of my research, which is basically dealing with the dilemmas and understanding that we need to engage to have a transparent and flexible plan. On top of it, we have limited resources. So that means that we need to prioritize the actions, we need to prioritize what we're doing, and we need to understand what are we going to do with the available funds. This is my case study. It's Mingyariva, North Stradbroke Island. It's a small island in the southeast area of Queensland in Australia. It's a relatively medium-sized island, just about 275 square kilometers. We have different actors, community, indigenous groups, private sector, which is local business and mining companies. And at the same time, we have the classic government agencies working from the environment, from the local councils, and federal agencies. At the same time, we have these different interactions between the actors and the different species. And we have the big environmental problem, which in my case is the impact of invasive species, so foxes and cats, on the threatened and culturally relevant species of the island. So as I was saying, this is a complex and multidimensional problem. So basically, how do we approach this big issue? First of all, we need to contact the stakeholders. This is a key component. We need to understand what they want. We need to understand what they're willing to do. And also define the species. So in my case, threatened species, the culturally relevant species, the invasive species, and other that we came out with from the literature. Then the third step is define the objectives alongside the stakeholders. The fourth stage, we need to define the different scenarios for this problem. And then we need to understand that we don't have all the money in the world, so we need to do some kind of prioritization. This is just to show you the different scenarios. Basically, they want to manage invasive species. That means that in the end, it's different levels of investment and complexity of the different plans. To understand what the stakeholders were after, we sent out a survey where we asked for their preferences, we assessed the feasibility of the action, the possible impacts, the cost, and what they expected out of the whole plan. So, and then we used cost-benefit analysis by Infer, which was developed by David Panel in 2012. And as I was saying when I started, always include the stakeholders. In this figure, I wanted to show you that basically understanding what the stakeholders want and what they want to do means that we have to understand what's their significance of the asset that we are trying to protect. So in my case, we engage with different stakeholders, as I said, but as you can see on the graph on the right side, for them, this island that we see is like a very small piece of land, has international significance because it's a Ramsar site, it's part of the Australasian flight pathway, and also it's the second largest sand island in the world. So on top of that, it has a lot of species that are considered, they have some cultural relevancies to them. So we need to understand those values when we are trying to develop the plans. At the same time, when I say go big or go home, I mean that basically you need to understand what's the level of investment that you need to then compromise and select the best action and select the best possible action for the outcome that you're looking for. Then always expect unexpected. Luckily for us, the risk that we assessed for in this case was pretty low, so we didn't have to deal with that issue. Luckily, they were working together for the last 10 years, so that gave us an advantage. In the end, the take-home message is planning with the communities means empowering the local communities. You have higher levels of engagement, and then you have a higher success rate. By doing the cost-benefit analysis, including uncertainty, the probability of success, probability of failure, that will give us the best action portfolio. And then with a dynamic approach, we'll have flexibility to change our plan depending on the circumstances. So if you want to know more, I'm going to be presenting a poster tomorrow afternoon. So just come along and have a chat. Thank you very much.